What's the? I don't think we've got anyone in the chat at the moment, so just waiting to see who we get in here. Hopefully, I'll be able to just at some point start selling my own products. Everybody okay? Welcome in here, everybody. Yeah, how are we doing today, people? So what I might start doing is I want to start selling my own stuff at some point. Everyone okay? Hope you've all had a great day today. Everyone all right? Say hello if you're watching, people. Hang on, who's watching now? It says there's 18 on YouTube or something. Why is there no comments coming up? Hang on a second. Bear with me. Let's go to the live chat. Barbie, Annie, thank you for the likes. But yeah, basically selling your own products is probably going to be better than say like affiliate marketing because well, you're getting 100% cut. And not only that, but people are probably more likely to trust you with your own products than trying to promote somebody else's products. Hello, Giselle. How you doing? Like, we should probably look into selling our own stuff if possible, really. Because otherwise, like, yeah, then you're like doing, say, like affiliate marketing or whatever, which sometimes people find that kind of stuff a bit dodgy. Yeah, it can work, but it's just, yeah, mainly calisthenics. I do some weights sometimes, but for me, calisthenics is enough. Like my body weight, I can just do it purely off body weight, most of it. That's, in a sense, you could say it's an advantage of being heavier and taller because your own body weight is the gym. Whereas for shorter guys, they might have to add a bit of weight if they want to continue getting stronger with their own body weight. It's like you could do like weighted push-ups, I guess, like with a weighted vest on or something, if you want to add resistance, or weighted pull-ups even, or weighted dips, weighted squats. Any exercise that's like body weight, you can just put a weight vest on and add resistance that way. Anyway, is everyone all right? But yeah, with calisthenics, it's about strength to body weight ratio. So it's like if you're a heavier person, it's going to be harder. That's why like the gymnasts tend to be quite small people. Like yeah, they have some muscle in their upper body, but they tend to be they're quite skinny on the legs though, because that's going to give them better leverages for that. Right, putrid. Thank you for the follow. But yeah, calisthenics. If you want to keep getting progress with that, then you probably want to like look at different techniques like slowing down the reps, or doing paused reps can be another one, or doing partial reps with stretch, more emphasis on the stretch. Like for example, doing like deep range of motion push-ups and things like that. So these are things that can help you get more out of it if the regular ones are just not doing it for you anymore. Like if you're getting to a point where you can do quite a lot of reps, it's like then it's time to kind of level it up, isn't it? Yeah, putrid. Can you hear me? So yeah, hello Isaac, how you doing? Hope you're well tonight. Welcome in here. Yeah, keep the chat flowing, everybody. Just check, see if there's this live TikTok live still going out. Then something. Anyway, just spelling. Ah, crap. Bear with me a second. Just double check that, because sometimes the live just simply just stops playing. I just check it myself. If no one's going to say anything, then I'll just do it myself. What's going on? Is it doing that bullshit again then? Okay, is it doing that shit again? Right, looks like it's back on now, but for some reason it was doing that shit. Hello, Ages, how you doing? Hope you're well tonight. All right, so every so often the TikTok just seems to go off for some reason. There you go, Johnny. There's my Donald Trump impression. I hope you've all had a tremendous day, all you wonderful people. Oh, Aussie. No, I don't really care. I don't watch football, so I don't know. I don't really care about any of that stuff, to be honest. It's not really my thing, so yeah. But each to their own, I guess. Oh yeah, thank you, Johnny. Yeah. So for some reason, there's some glitch going on with I don't know if it's the phone or what. Let me just find out. Why does TikTok live keep freezing? Have to keep refreshing it. Unstable internet connection, low device memory, RAM/storage, or cache buildup within the app. When the live stream data flow is interrupted, the app freezes, necessitating a manual refresh to reconnect the server. Can you just do one, Chloe? It's just. I thought a while ago you was all right, and then you just kind of like, what's wrong with you? Anyway, is everyone all right tonight? So I don't know what's been happening with this TikTok live shit, but it's I'm all right, thank you. Lily's 81. How are you doing? Like people try to come in and make snarky comments. You're not really. I'm on the autism spectrum, whether it's Asperger's or whatever. I don't really care, but it's just why are you asking anyway? Do you have that or something? It's usually other people that notice it, that either they have it or they know somebody that has it. Hello, Irura. How you doing? Hello, Catpian. I haven't seen you smile. I do smile sometimes, but I don't know. I find it odd how people are expected to smile all the time, even when they're not really that happy. I don't really understand that. It's like people are so fake. It's kind of annoying when people expect me to smile even if I'm not really happy. I'm not sad necessarily, I'm just not really happy as such. I'm expected to put on a fake fucking smile. Nah, fuck that. People say just be yourself, but when you're being yourself, then, you know, then people find that weird. Like, I'm kind of like someone who's myself, really. I'm not just gonna like, there you go, there's your smile. I mean, I have times where I do smile if I'm laughing and whatever, but really about Aussie. Yeah, yeah. It's like the thing with like high functioning autism and Asperger's, that it's like people tend to have quite high IQs on average, but socially they can also be like a bit kind of slow, and not slow, but like they can be a bit awkward. It could just be that like the world isn't meant for like our kind of people, because people are like, I don't know, like, thank you for the follow, Angel. People get offended so easily. And then it's like, if we say something that's like brutally honest, and then people will take offense to that. And you could say, well, I take offense at a lot of stuff. Oftentimes, it's not the thing that I'm taking offense at, but it's just the way that it's being said that's the problem. Or it's like people can say whatever they want, you know? People can say whatever they want about me, but it's like the thing that it's not that I take offense at, it's just I just find certain things can be disrespectful. Like the way that people will try and push their views onto people or something like that. They'll push their kind of ideals and wishes and whatever. Because with people like me, I don't like that. I don't like when people are pushy and trying to get me to conform to a certain standard. I decide what goes on in my own life. Nobody bosses me around with what goes on in my life. If anything, that's going to make me do the opposite. But I'm trying to just do what it is that I want to do, regardless of running. Because the thing is, if you end up doing the opposite, then you're still being controlled by it because you're reacting in the opposite. Oh yeah, I've heard about Ouija boards. Yeah, yeah. But then they've supposedly been explained away by what they call it, subconscious biases or something like that. I don't know the whole science behind it, but there's supposedly some explanation for it. I'd have to look more into it though. So I wouldn't necessarily go and say like, oh, this is some kind of like spirit thing, or whatever. I mean, I'm not like I kind of believe that there could be something um going on. Thank you for follow Joel P. As in like spiritual stuff, like I do think there's a something else going on in life, shall we say. A friend of mine would never let his food touch on his plate. What do you mean? And about like OCD, a little reckless. Oh, thank you. Yeah, OCD can be quite difficult. I used to get certain things like when I was a kid, like bad at times, but I did grow out of some of it. Yeah, I am British, Corpus. Yeah, yeah, British. Yeah, is everybody all right tonight then? All right, Flashpoint, how you doing? Hope you're well. Uh, all right, Martin, how you doing? I hope you're well. But it's like over the years, I've learned to just question everything. Is what I'd say. Yeah, I do have quite a lot of followers, not a lot of viewers though, but yeah, I've learned to question things, question everything. It's like there's so much BS out there, especially nowadays. It's like so I was talking to someone last night how with all this deep fake shit, it's like you could have somebody um pretend to be like Donald Trump's or Keir Starmer or whatever saying something, but then they could use it as a get out of jail free card and say, no, that was AI. I didn't actually do that. So it starts to get to a point where what even is real anymore? Yeah, I've been all right, thank you. How you doing? Like, what even is real when you can't even tell if you can't tell the difference between AI and reality at a certain point? It's like it's kind of scary to think like, but maybe that will force people to actually start going out in person again more potentially. That's what some are suggesting might happen. Is it'll get to that point where it's like this is just getting to a point where this is out of control now, and there's no stopping it. Like I don't think they'll ever be able to stop it, will they? So, oh, Martin. So maybe some people might start going the other way. And that's my hope anyway, that maybe things will maybe go in that direction more. But because how will people know if they're actually, I mean, maybe otherwise, maybe people will, still watch certain content, but it's like, but all this brain rot shit, hopefully it will come to pass at some point and people will just get sick of it all. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing is like a lot of the answers are within, I would say. We have to focus on the answers we have within because there's a lot of like unknowns in this world that are, you can just go on all day for weeks, months, years on end without getting to an answer. So, if we don't just kind of let go of that, then we're stuck in that kind of attachment to having an answer. Maybe we don't need to have answers to everything. We have to learn to be okay with that. We have to learn to be okay with not knowing. But a lot of people are searching for meaning. Well, maybe you're supposed to create your own meaning. Find that within. Listen to your gut. What is your gut telling you should do? You know, maybe that's what you should try to do. Listen to your gut instincts, and if your gut's telling you to pursue a certain thing, then maybe that's what you should do. So maybe that's like some, like guide or something. Some believe in like a higher self or something. Like some might say like the subconscious is like the higher self or something, or it's connected to the higher self. That we're getting like these downloads of information that we can then trust in that to be guiding us through life. If we ever feel lost. Hello, Mystic C. How you doing? Hope you're well. Um, yeah. Hope you've had a great day today, everybody. Welcome in. We're chatting about just kind of different bits, different things. Really, like don't really have it like any specific thing at the moment. Just saying about like meaning of life and all that, and this search for answers, and maybe that's the trap. Maybe as soon as we let go, then no bad. How's yourself? I'm all right, thank you. Have you been here before? Welcome in anyway. This whole search for answers, like existential questions and all that. Maybe the point is just you know, find what matters to you. Don't listen to what other people say you should do in your life because some people say, oh, you should be, you know, working 60, 70 hours a week on some business. Like, who the hell wants to be doing that? Hello, Heinz Beans, how you doing? So, listen to what's in your gut. What does your gut tell you should do? Oh, Macklemore. I love Mackle less. No, I'm English. Where are you from? Hmm. Everybody all right tonight? Hope you've all had a good day. Hi, Velvet Bunny. How you doing? You okay? very well tonight. Huh. So they say instead of focusing on what you lack, focus on what you already have. Focus on the things that you want in life, and then focus on what you have that already is in that direction. As in, if you want love in your life, then you have to start seeing it in your life, because chances are you already have in some form the thing you want in your life, and that by focusing on that, that then allows it to blossom more. So if you have, say, like, but you might not think you have love in your life, but it's about trying to see it around you. And then once you start seeing it more, then that starts to, you know, affirm into your reality. Something you want to be a billionaire. Why do you want to be a billionaire? So this is a thing as well. You have to ask yourself, why is it that I want these things? How is it possibly going to benefit my life? And what are the things I have to do to get there? Because there are certain goals that people think of, oh, I want to be a billionaire. But then, do you really though? Hello, nodding along. How you doing? Hope you're well. Do you really want to be a billionaire though? You might think you do, but then okay. Um, yeah, live. Yeah, I'll probably be getting off soon anyway. But okay, take care. Um, is anyone on TikTok watching or anything? Because seems like gone quiet on there. Just check, make sure the live's still running. Because nobody's saying anything. But how am I supposed to know if the live's still running if people aren't saying anything? I just find it rude that people just say nothing. Or they're just ignoring it. At least just say something like, the live is frozen or something. So then I know. Otherwise, how do I know? Right, looks like it's still running. Looks like it's still running, but every so often it just stops running. Hello, Shum. Hello, Teddy. How you doing? Hello, Black Panther. Hello, Vibu, however that's pronounced. Are you paying your phone bill, are you? All right. Vibu says good stuff. Cool. Yeah. All right, then. Yeah. So I don't really plan to stay down here much longer. Might go hang out in some other lives soon, potentially. Gravity Core Fitness is like, oh, blimey, 2,000 push ups they're doing. Yeah, that's crazy stuff, that. Yeah, that guy's stamina is crazy. Um, yeah. So I'm probably gonna get going for a bit then. Doesn't seem like there's much going on, so yeah. Anything else, guys? Might go hang out in some other lives for a bit. Hello, Ray Love. How you doing? Hope you're well tonight. What's everybody been up to today? So everybody had a good day today then. So yeah, so I need to try and focus on just getting that sorted out, the traveling. So I reckon that would really help with my sense of purpose and mental health and all that. But I could tie a lot of things into it. So yeah, maybe I could even get it covered in some kind of publication or something. You gotta dream big, guys. You know, no friggin' small fry bullshit. Dream big. A lot of people limit themselves because they they limit their minds, like as in their minds limit them as to like what's possible. Who's to say that I can't do any of that? You gotta stop with all these self-limiting beliefs. Because if you believe it's not possible, then you're right. If you believe it is possible, you're also right. Whatever you believe about yourself, it's right. If you believe you're attractive, that's right. If you believe you're unattractive, that's also right. You know, the outer world will respond to whatever your assumptions are. So if you assume yourself like as in like a really good person, then you're that's what you're going to put out there. That's the vibration you put out. And that's the vibration you receive is more positivity. So it magnifies it. If we're feeling negativity, then you're going to see it magnified. I mean, I can't fly unaided. I mean, I could fly in a plane or a helicopter, you know, not without any, sort of technological aids. There's like jetpack or something. I mean, I saw this thing about like human powered flight where they had a bicycle. Thank you for the follow, Cyril Joy. I love about Death, but I had a bicycle attached to like wings, and if they pedal it fast enough, that can actually take off in the air. I think someone actually rode it across the English Channel, so it could be a bit dangerous in certain conditions. I would have thought, but yeah. Hello, Haley. Welcome back. Hello, lovely Mech. Oh, thank you. Hello, Hippocrates. Okay. Nature, good to see you. How you doing? Thank you for the help me. How have you been? I've not seen you for a while. Yeah. Started trying to come on here again, but yeah. Thank you for the gifts. Nature, nice one. So like I was saying, my idea is to get this like bike car hybrid vehicle thing, kind of like a velomobile type of thing, and it's going to be expensive, but it'd be a good one for like for exposure, I reckon. Especially if I have my channels and stuff on it, and I could just have it like all my socials on it. So then when people walk past it, they're gonna notice it because it's different, you know? I mean, I could have a trailer, but this one actually is like an enclosed bike. So, so yeah, this would be like an enclosed sort of yeah, it'd be a bit different. I mean, I could always have a trailer on it if I wanted to, but I just see how I get on. But that's the goal anyway, because yeah. What I thought wasn't M Thomas okay or something? I don't know. Oh, she muted M Thomas. All right, don't think I've seen that before. Yeah, it's different. But this is the thing: is like I want to do something different. You know, fuck being the same as everybody else. You know, if you want, let's say, if you want extraordinary results, you have to do extraordinary things. Like you have to be different. Like so, I have my ways I can be different. I'd say I'm quite a different kind of person, but it's just trying to apply it in the right way. Like trying to put your energy in the right direction instead of just wasting it on pointless things. Because that can be a mistake that can just waste a lot of time. But sometimes things have to happen for you to realize that you're not on the right path. It's not that you're not on the right path because sometimes you had to go down certain detours to kind of see that that's not the right way to do things. It's like what was that? Sorry, why didn't you catch what I said? I'm not going to repeat it again. So yeah, I don't know why you didn't catch that, but hello, Mick Lloyd. How you doing? Has it started freezing again or something? I was talking about the bike thing, traveling with like a sort of like a velo bike type of it's called velomobile thing. Oh, your internet. Okay, fair enough. But I'm not going over the whole thing again. But basically, I was just saying about yeah, doing that and basically putting my name all over it, and then when people walk past, they'll see it, and it'll. So what I want to try and do is like tie it in with the busking stuff as well, and yeah, that's what I want to do going forward. So I need to get back into the busking. So I was thinking I'd travel around with my vehicle. Yeah, it'd be like advertising. It could blow it up potentially because I saw a video where someone was with one of these trailers and then like people were looking at it all the time. Like if it's something novel, something different, people are going to pay attention. This is the thing is I was talking about how value comes from rarity. So in order for someone to have value, they have to be different. You know, like if you're just doing what everybody else is doing online, then what makes you stand out? You know, nothing. Like a lot of people, their mistake is that they just be like everybody else, trying to just jump on whatever trend. That's not going to work. Thank you, Armadillo. Hello, Neville. Hello, Insaf. So you have to be different. But a lot of people are afraid to take a chance, isn't it? You know, they're afraid to, you know, have a shot in the dark or whatever because they're afraid of the unknown. But I'd rather do that than just be mundane and be like everybody else. Yeah, that's the thing, stepping outside the box. You know, the box is what confines us. But the thing is that it's like you step so far out of the box that you realize that there was never even a box there to begin with, and it was all an illusion that you created with your own mind. Like this, reality is literally a creation of you, of consciousness. Is what I'm kind of like coming to like the idea of that without consciousness, none of this would even be real. So you have to like give yourself credit in the sense of, you are not just some kind of random event that I don't think. I think that we are fundamental to this reality. We are, like people want to say that we're not important and all that, but it's like consciousness is fundamental to the reality that we're in. Like they've shown that with different quantum experiments and things. Okay, Megatron. Consciousness is not just some kind of, in my opinion, it's not just some kind of tool to use for like, um, animals, whatever, for like, for survival or whatever. I mean, you could argue from that perspective, but what would matter be without consciousness? Like we are literally bringing this into existence by observing it. Collectively, that's what we are, is co-creators. That's where I'm kind of coming to. Hello, made up content. How you doing? We are conscious co-creators of the reality. We are, we could be some kind of network in some higher dimension or whatever, but I mean, I don't know if you've heard about something called quantum jumping, this notion that you can jump to a parallel reality by assuming it into existence because they say your thoughts create your reality. Well, what if they're not necessarily creating your reality, but you are just assuming a reality? You're assuming one of the infinite possibilities of reality. Your thoughts align to that reality, and then bingo. But it can also work against you if you have negative thoughts on reality as well. Like if you say I'm not worthy or any of these self-limiting beliefs, like, oh, only, you know, people who are born into wealth get rich or something like that. Like who says that? You know? Because it's like a lot of people, they kind of make excuses in some cases. Like they just like to make all these excuses up to say, "Oh, why would I become rich? Why would I become successful? What's so special about me?" Instead of thinking, "What's so special about me?" Think about, you know, as in like, what can I do? What can think of all the things that you can do. What can you, sort of apply yourself to? Yeah, I'm British. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, another thing is that, what is it? People say stuff like money doesn't grow on trees. Well, yeah, it doesn't, but it's like a subconscious way of having this scarcity mindset around it. Well, it doesn't grow on trees, but therefore it's this scarce resource or something like that. Hello, Alteza, how you doing? People have this idea that only, certain people have the privilege of making money, but yeah, how have you been, Alteza? Not seen you around for a while. Oh, but yeah, it's just does it matter if you're in the matrix or not? Why? I don't know what you mean. Oh, Smith. I mean, well, if you know you're in the matrix, then you're like, okay, well, how do I, get out of the matrix or something? But to me, the matrix is just, I see it as like, society has been, kind of like had the wool pulled over their eyes, shall we say. Like they've been led to believe that, a 9 to 5 is the best way to achieve financial success or whatever, and that it's the most, you know, optimal or the most safe way of doing it, or blah, blah, blah. They've been led to believe all these things that keep them stuck, keep them paralyzed, you know, because a lot of people end up being stuck in the same job with like promotions every so often. And even if they do get paid more, they have then more responsibilities. Whereas if you start a business, it can be difficult at first to set up, but then once you've set it up, then it gets better from there. You make more money with less responsibilities at a certain point. All you have to do is just maintain what you've got. It's kind of like if you try and build muscle, and then once you've built enough, you can scale back somewhat and be like, okay, I can cut my workouts in half and just do less volume throughout the week and just kind of focus more on other things. That's the benefit. Once you've got it, then it's almost like passive income in that sense, where you just have to do a small amount to maintain it. It's like with a business, you will have to do certain things to maintain it. You'll have to oversee certain things, but once you've built something up, you can sustain it with minimal effort. Hello, Una Connor, good to see you. How you doing? So yeah, we just have to try and like look at what we really want to do in life. Like, what is the gift that we can bring to the world? We all have a gift to bring to the world. For some people, it's to make people laugh. For some people, it's to save others. For some people, it's to give people advice. For some people, it's to entertain people. You gotta find what your calling is here, what gift you have. We all have something. You know? So instead of like focusing your energy on getting all bitter because someone's doing better than you, put that energy into taking responsibility to be a better person, and become more knowledgeable, more efficient. If things aren't working for you in your life, then maybe you should take a leaf out of these people's book. Do I believe in Jesus? Well, what is Jesus? Like in some religions, Jesus is what they call Christ consciousness, like a higher level of consciousness that we can all get to through awakening. But everyone's got their own perspectives. Oh, Aishu, how you doing? Hope you're well tonight. Nice to have you all here. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know if he was there and whether he was the so-called Son of God or God or whatever. I mean, I can't validate any of that. All I can see is it's written in some book that, well, it wasn't actually called Jesus for a start because the letter J wasn't even in the alphabet. It's like even different religions. Some will say Jesus was a messenger, and then some people say that Jesus was the Son of God. Then some people say Jesus is actually God, and is the Son of God, and is the Holy Spirit. I mean, why has everybody got a different interpretation? Like, who's to be believed then? Because nobody agrees. You've got different denominations that have different perspectives. Hello, Laura. How you doing? Hope you well. I mean, maybe Jesus existed, but then in terms of the whole story of like the resurrection and all that, I don't know. But what if the Jesus thing was more of an allegory to talk about, like an enlightened path, and the whole resurrection could have been some kind of transformation? I mean, it's like there's like different allegorical ways of seeing the Bible that some people interpret it as. Oh, I mean, loves Jesus. Okay. Zeitgeist. I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, they say though that's like the Islam argument that like their stories haven't been changed. But it's like who written the original story though? Are we to trust that that person is divinely inspired? I mean, where does all that even come from? I mean, there's an ancient like or more ancient kind of like religions where they didn't have the same belief systems as the Abrahamic religions. There's religions that go way back before all them. They had a different interpretation of things. So who are we to trust more? I just see like things like Christianity and especially like Catholicism and all that as a control mechanism. Same with a lot of these Abrahamic religions. Like organized religion, I think is corrupt. There's these hierarchies that are in there, and where there's people in different levels of it, and oh yeah, Taoism, isn't that similar to like Buddhism or something? I mean, there's lots of different. What is it? There's a few other ones like you've got Hinduism and Sikhism and all that. Oh yeah, pagans, and then you've got like Wicca. There's another one. I remember there was someone that was actually into Wiccanism, and they have their own perspectives on things. Bible's been written by 40 different men over a span of 1600 years, and they all speak about the same God. They wrote down prophecies and the coming Messiah would fulfill, which Jesus did. I don't know. I mean, just because prophecies come true, does that mean that it's because of some God that we cannot see? Maybe it's just things happen naturally that you could say, oh well, that's prophesized this thing like where it talked about, oh, mark of the beast or whatever, and it's like, but depending on how you interpret that, I mean, you could say, well, there's a chance that all these things will come true at some point in time. Whether it's like corrupt governments or censorship or whatever kind of stuff, that at some point that's inevitably going to happen. So you could say it's a form of confirmation bias to say, oh, look, the prophecies are all coming true, but it's just a kind of like thing that where it's like these were written over a certain amount of time, and then it's like, well, there's only so long until all these things are going to come true just by chance. I mean, I don't know. I mean, everyone's got their own opinions on that, but I'm not really totally buying into that. It's because of some kind of god or devil that we can't see outside of ourselves. There could be like natural cycles. I'm kind of like, open to that. There's like, for example, Age of Aquarius. I say we're going into the Age of Aquarius now. Thank you for the follow-up liner. That it's like a transitional period where there's going to be turbulence. Maybe it predicted a lot of that kind of stuff. Different ages. Like we've gone into like the Age of Aquarius from the Age of Pisces. It's like a transitional period where there's turbulence, and then things will hopefully transition into something better. But I don't really see it from like the kind of religious perspective on things of like end times. Like there's a literal like rapture happening. Because how many times have they said, "Oh, the rapture's happening"? Didn't they say that back in the World Wars or something? Like, there's always been things that have happened that have been quite messed up, but I need real world evidence to believe in that kind of stuff. But why am I even arguing about this sort of stuff in my life? Like, it's like, if you want to believe in that stuff, then be my guest. But all religion does is just divide people, you know? Alfie, how you doing? All it does is divide people. It doesn't seem to really be bringing people together. Oh yeah, Mayans. I mean, oh really? One Jack Paul. That's good then. Keel. Can the guy people on TikTok still hear me then? Sounds like it's raining outside. Yeah, it was got really windy earlier. It was blowing a gale. Yeah, it's very windy. But yeah, I'm not here to like push beliefs on people. I mean, if people want to believe in that stuff, then be my guest. As long as you're not harming anybody else, then it's nothing to do with me. So, because they all believe in different gods. Yeah. But then what is God? It's like everyone's got a different answer to that. Hello, Jan Falux. How you doing? Actually pretty dry in the south. Where are you at? The south of England, you mean, or something? We just started chucking it down with rain. Luckily I didn't get caught up in it earlier. It was just a bit windy. God is nothing, just fear of not being. Hmm. Yeah, well, I see God as like possibly collective consciousness. I guess you could say that they played on that fear of not being, but we don't know what happens really. I would say that it's likely that something continues, but I don't know for sure. But I wouldn't think that this is all for nothing. That we just kind of get to the end of life and then that's it. I mean, because I'd have to believe then that throughout all these billions of years of evolution, then I popped into existence in this body, and then just kind of for like however many years, and then just poof, go out of existence for an eternity. Like, are we to really believe that's the reality? Like, why is my consciousness in this body at this particular time? If it's just some kind of random chance, like why did my consciousness exist at all? If it's all just random, it's all well, some people believe in different religions. Like, is God? I mean, God is like, you could say that it's unified, therefore it's one. But they are like like the if you want to get like semantic or something. Let's have a look, see what it says. Can there be multiple gods? Question mark. So it says it's a matter of religious, philosophical, and theological debate. So you got what's called polytheistic. So you're talking about monotheistic. Hi, Pijat. So what I'm talking about is pantheism. There are over 1,000 gods on this planet. So like, yeah. But basically, like, whether it's a god or not, but then you could argue it's not atheism by definition. That it's a kind of, I guess you could call it a gray area, because it comes down to like, what do we define? Because if you can argue that like words only have one meaning, then therefore man and woman means, what it's always meant. And, this whole thing of like gender is kind of like, I don't know, why fear dying not being you would never know. I mean, it's the fear of missing out, isn't it? Is the argument. I think is where it comes from. The fear of missing out on what could happen, and feeling like, you've built that life up and then it just kind of poof, gone. And then like, yeah. Yeah, I know, but it's like, but I'm just saying from like the perspective of like, not about fearing it, but it's like there's different perspectives on death, but like I'm just not really totally buying into this idea that when you're gone kind of thing. Thank you for the follow, Lisa. Because who are you ultimately? who ultimately are you? Why waste time looking future when the fun is now? Well, I mean, we have to like be able to make plans for the future, right? Unless you're talking about like after death, but yeah, it's just the thing is that if we had no fear of death, then we might not make we might you could say well it might cause people to be reckless and do things that would end up putting them 6 feet under much sooner because they'll like have this attitude of like, oh, who cares? All that cares is what happens right now. And then 20 years down the line, you're like, oh fuck. It's easy to say now that, oh well, I just want to have fun right now. But then, thank you for the hot me, Tirada. Thank you for the hot puff. Nice one. We are social constructs. What you're talking about? I mean, I think like a lot of people are. I would say I'm not the only one that's afraid of not being because it's like I think it's a natural kind of. I don't know if it's natural, but it's because we're like yeah. But you could say it could be good to think that it's finite. Then you're going to make the most of every moment. So why waste your time getting into pointless bullshit? Like, why are we even arguing about this right now? Let's just forget talking about this now, then, you know? Because otherwise, we're not living, then, are we, So I was just like arguing with the religious people or something, and what's this? We have a fear of death to drive us to find out about what there is to come. Our death will definitely come one day without a doubt, but our soul, our spirit will live on forever. I mean, that's your perspective on it, but yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get going in a sec, guys. I think so. Yeah. Um, any more questions before I go? What do you mean? What age do you transition into? Do you mean as in like you could go back in time potentially? Like I believe there's like possibly different timelines going on simultaneously, and it's non-linear, and it's like it's kind of like a 30, 50, 70 in heaven. What you mean? I don't believe there's a heaven or hell. I believe they're states of mind. Like you can create your own heaven and hell in your mind. It's all about your mindset. Oh, you all right? Really, Toom Yam from the UK as well. Okay, thank you, Bones. Yeah. Some say our energy is recycled, but then it's like some argue that our consciousness and whether it's an energy that the thing is that there's this hard problem of consciousness, and scientists still can't really figure out exactly what's going on. And yeah, there's neuroscientists who say stuff like that just, you know, emerges in the brain, but then it's like, from what though? Just from material. My thoughts on things is that consciousness always had to have existed in the universe, but that's my whole kind of philosophy on it, that the whole idea of like, if we weren't around, then therefore what really exists? It would just exist in probability waves, therefore not really in existence the way that we would think of it as. I mean, mendacious reality. How you doing? Hope you well. But if that theory is true, then we're able to possibly jump from one reality to another. Physics teachers Einstein, our past, now, future exists forever, but we can't go into the past. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that you can go into the past, but like, at least not in this lifetime anyway. I mean, but if we've got to think about it in terms of like timelines and stuff, that there could be another version of the past in another universe or something that is happening all the time, basically. That the many worlds interpretation that says every version of every reality is happening simultaneously all the time. So it could be possible that you come back as a previous relative or something, but not with their consciousness, but rather in your own version of it. Everything you are exists forever. You can't destroy matter and time. Yeah, yeah. So I remember they were saying how could you explain the Big Bang then, if how could you have something come from nothing? But they do say that their theory is that like everything was all in a pinhead or something, and it all just exploded. But then where did all this space come from? Did that just come from nowhere? Because I remember I was talking with someone, I don't know if it was you, but because then it's like, what is the universe expanding into if it's expanding? Then they say, oh, it's expanding into itself. But if you can't create something from nothing, then doesn't that not violate? What is it like Newton? Is it Newton's laws? Some of them like the conservation of, sort of like all that sort of thing. I mean, I'm not the best at explaining it, but yeah, that you would just, if somehow more space exists now because of the Big Bang, then how could that possibly be explained then in that reality? Um, Now a lot of physicists believe two universes collided together, but then it's like you would have to have been there, I would argue. So that caused the Big Bang or something. So there's some universe outside of this, and that is that possibly a parallel universe then? Is it possible that two universes can collide and then interfere with each other? That's the observer. What do you mean? But in like quantum many worlds is that you could have infinite universes like on top of each other, like they call it quantum superposition or entanglement or whatever, and they crash. But is that like a physical thing, or is it? I mean, I remember there was this whole idea that CERN could supposedly crash universes together. But again, like if there was no observer, then like was there an observer at that point? Oh, the universes crash. Well, has there always been like ebbs and flows happening? Possibly is the idea. Like if there's universes beyond, then is there big bangs, big crunches going on? But you could argue that there has to be an observer there in order to validate that. Otherwise, it's just a probability. What you're on about, mendacious, really? Why have you changed up now and just, I'm Mitchell? But you could go on and on. This is what I mean with these kind of talks. It's just you'll end up leading nowhere. It just gets draining. The problem is the observable universal. We can't see beyond the speed of light. We can't everything. Yeah. So therefore, we can't really validate it then. All we can do is theorize on things. Do you believe there's like infinite energy in the universe or in the multiverse? Hope other being are watching too, like aliens or something. Maybe there's some alien life, but then we would have to be able to assume that they can somehow see things faster than the speed of light, somehow, which would be impossible, right? Unless they've got technology. But then it's like, even then, but then it's like, what if they had some kind of. You could say that in some other universe, they might have completely different laws of physics or something. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, this is the thing. It's just because I've got somebody here talking about it. I was going to not even talk about any of this stuff because at the end of the day, who knows? We just go around in circles, just arguing about these sort of things. But it's like you're just left with more and more questions. We need other observers. Yeah. Well, this idea of like there's another observer in another universe or something, but then is that even possible? Would you say that that kind of violates Occam's razor to assume something so kind of far out, to assume that something else is observing us when we can't even observe past the observable universe or something? To assume that something else can somehow magically observe us when to assume there's something faster than the speed of light. I mean, unless there's some way of communicating through like entanglement, because this whole spooky action at a distance thing, who knows? But it's like all this is just speculation land. Who asked what? Well, it's just speculation land at the end of the day, isn't it? None of us really have the answers. We can speculate, but then, like, you've got scientists now saying that they think that we're living in a holographic universe. They're saying that, like, that this universe is being projected on a like 2D backdrop or something like that. Something along those lines, anyway. No other galaxies, other universes, not us. We need observers across the multiverse. I mean, what you're saying that people from the other end of the universe can see other people in other universes. Is that what you're trying to say? That would assume there's other life in the universe and other people that can see other universes somehow. But then it's like at the end of the universe, it gets more and more spaced out, supposedly, like we red shift or whatever, and so therefore, unless they were there at the start of the universe when it was still all close together, but then would assume that it's then all gotten more spaced out or something over time. So it just seems like an Occam's razor kind of violation to assume something like that. I don't know. That somehow somebody could observe a Big Bang happening. I don't know. It's unless I've misinterpreted what you're saying, but yeah. What's this? Oconsivery. I don't know about that. His postulates are egocentric. Who are you talking about? Occam or something, or who are you talking about? Me, or what are you talking about? Hello, Sami. Thank you for the likes. What you're talking about? Me or what? Hang on, I'm getting confused now. Oh, not me. Are you on about Occam or something? So I don't know. Well, the whole thing of was the simplest explanation with the least amount of assumptions is usually the correct one. To assume that somehow life just kind of appeared in this form, that somehow it just spawned into existence. Well, they say about, primordial soup and all that kind of thing, but I mean, maybe, but then, like, where did that consciousness come from? Where did all the I remember listening to it. I think it was called Stuart Hameroff, whatever, and there was this other guy called Roger Penrose. They come up with this theory called OR, which stands for Orchestrated Objective Reduction. That's what they kind of postulate. Consciousness is in like microtubules in the brain, and yeah, they believe it's like quantum processes and anyway. Yeah, I mean, I don't really believe Jesus is a literal story like resurrection and all that kind of stuff. What's this? However, in physics, now a lot of science agree in our part of the universe we are as observers means X. What do you mean? Like, existence, you mean? Is it yeah, about like consciousness being fundamental? Because you hear the stuff about if a tree falls over and it's not and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, the answer to that is no, because it's well, hypothetically, if there was no one there, like nothing, well, no birds, nothing, it would all you would have is waves of probabilities. But I mean, I sometimes like to go down different rabbit holes and stuff. I even thought about, well, who's to say anyone else exists? But then, if that's the case, then are these people just figments of my imagination? But then, if that's the case, then why are they coming into my reality without me controlling that? Like, I'm sure there's certain things I would not have choose to have happened, like certain people and certain events that have happened that so yeah, but you could argue it couldn't be technically refuted 100% because I cannot get inside someone else's consciousness. So for all I know, they could just all be extras in my own movie, and it's all happening all in your own head. So it's like it's crazy when you realize there is no outer world, as in not an objective in an objective way anyway. That the outer, I mean, you can't experience something outside of you. Like even when say like you something hits you or something, but you're not actually experiencing that out of your body. You're experiencing it inside your body. Yeah, yeah. Well, there is that, you're seeing half of it because you're blinking. But I could say that when you sleep, let's say you sleep 8 hours, right? What if 8 hours didn't actually pass, but rather 8 hours skipped past? As in, you go to sleep. Let's say, assume you have no dreams that night. It would feel as though no time has gone past at all. So, from your reality, time did not pass, but rather time jumped. So this would be like almost like a real life example of like subjective reality, subjective timelines and stuff. Because while you're sleeping and I mean, then someone else is still alive or still, awake during that time, experiencing that 8 hours go past. But you don't experience that, at least not in the same way. Like you might have a dream which might last for like 30 minutes or something or whatever. But the rest of the time you're just sleeping or something. Yeah, yeah. This is why people were like scratching their heads over why is it that humans sleep? It has to be very important for us to do because otherwise we would have no reason to do it because we would be very vulnerable during sleeping back in like those hunter gatherer days and all that before technology and all that. We would be exposed to a lot of like predation and stuff because even though you could say we're apex predators, but then when we're sleeping, we're vulnerable to other animals or even other people, which yeah, when you're asleep, then yeah, so yeah, there was that. Was it Matthew Walker? Who's like a Yeah, he's like a sleep expert, and he talks about how sleep is a very important thing. Like you can only go like a few days without sleep. I mean, like there's been someone had a ridiculous amount of time. I think it was like nearly 2 weeks, but they're gonna feel like shit. Like some people can get by in like a few hours a night or something, but it's not good unless I mean, you probably want like 7, 8 hours a night, ideally. Some people can get by on about 5 hours a night, but that's not ideal necessarily. Yeah, be dying. Yeah, they're saying now like you could cause irreparable damage by not getting those at least a few hours of sleep a night. Like there was some guy that did some crazy stuff for views where he tried to see how long he could go. Like he was trying to do some kind of Guinness World Record, but then they'd like kind of banned all that stuff. So it's like it was going to be like void or something because it's like because it was dangerous. Like they're not going to have dangerous records because it's not going to be a good look for them, is it? So yeah, I think he actually ended up. I think it was on some platform that he got kicked off that and had to do it on another one. Just desperate for views, and then he did another thing where he locked himself in a dark room for like weeks, and then just turned himself crazy. So he did all these things that just kind of trying to just do it for the views because he knows that it's going to cause people to watch. Like people seem to just it's this morbid curiosity thing, isn't it? You as a Christian, yeah, yeah. I've never been religious myself. Yeah, I've never been. He's just allowing it for now. What's that? Oh, you're on about the whole evil and all that. Yeah, it's like why did it? Why does he not? Oh, he's given devil dominion over the earth. What do you mean? Doesn't that make him as bad then? Let's see what it says on the AI. Like, why doesn't God stop the devil? Yeah, let's see what it says about this. A lot of people say they're not sleeping, but they are getting 4 to 5 hours, but they believe they are. What do you mean? You mean they believe they're not? How do they believe that they're not then? Are they like kind of going in and out of consciousness a lot or something? Um, so how would you explain that then? Was this the Bible does not explicitly state why God hasn't immediately destroyed Satan, but theological interpretation suggests it allows for free will, demonstrates the consequences of rebellion, and proves God's justice rather than ruling by fear. It is generally believed that God is using the existence of evil to fulfill a greater ultimate purpose. But I question like why even have to have that in the first place? And it's like you got all these different kind of thoughts on what if it's like you know it's for some lesson to make everyone suffer for what? Because you have to learn a lesson. But it's like if God is infinite, then why did He not just make us infinite beings as well and kind of beyond all these pain and all these different things? Like, I mean, like, so yeah, the religious stuff doesn't really add up to me because you're telling me that God's allowing all this stuff to happen. We're supposed to worship this God. Oh, just in the plan. God's got a plan. It's all in our best interest. All of this happening right now. Hmm. I don't know about that. The truth, your belief. I mean, I would say that going back to I guess you could say more like pantheistic kind of beliefs in terms of like, well, not belief, but just a theory in terms of the collective consciousness. The idea that reality is just something that is some kind of collective dream or something like that, potentially. Like a collective simulation. And within that simulation, there's going to be good and bad people. You're always going to get bad apples who believe that they should try to dominate over other people in other spaces. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, some believe that they should, dominate over people because that gives them access to more resources and all that kind of stuff because of their programming that they've been conditioned to think that collecting an abundance of resources is necessary. But it's like we have to learn to overcome this idea because that's what keeps us enslaved. People stay as like wage slaves because they think that owning more things is going to make them more happy. Yeah, it might give them a fleeting sense of happiness, but then that soon dies. After a bit, it's like, oh, on to the next thing now. So then they stress themselves out to get the next fix. It's this hedonic treadmill, yeah. Because there's this theory that like emotions tend to like go back to a baseline by just so it's like this constant moving on a hamster wheel. Precious thing in the universe. Well, it goes back to the consciousness thing because I would say, well, without it, then what even is the universe? but it's all kind of like a hypothetical because maybe there can't be a universe where there is no consciousness, or at least not a universe that cannot be observed by consciousness. Do you know the most? I know, not gold, not diamond. It's trees. What's that? I know. What do you mean? Hello, Lil Mayank. Saving myself from myself is a job. What do you mean? Why did God create us to do evil then? Yeah. Well, there's this whole thing about um, saying that, oh, it's free will, that's why. Teaches you about right and wrong. But then, why do we need to be taught about right and wrong? Why have a limited reality where right and wrong even exists? And why not just have infinite bliss and just, oh, we have to have, contrast? And like, well, isn't happiness based on, well, they'll say that it's a lot of it's to do with chemicals in the brain, like serotonin and all that kind of stuff. So why doesn't God just max out all these feel good feelings and just kind of have us live in eternal bliss? Why put us through shit? Hello, living in Kerala. How you doing? Free will, you don't have to understand it. But then it's like, if you don't understand it, then maybe it's because it's not real. As in, maybe it's not. I don't know. As in, of course, you could say, well, there's things beyond our comprehension. But, like, again, it goes back to the simplest explanations, usually the correct one. To believe there's an external God, it requires a lot of assumptions. If we had higher neurotransmitters, we wouldn't do evil. It's his design. Well, there's that as well, isn't there? Why do we do evil? Oh, we have to have the capacity to. Like, they've got psychopaths. There's all these different things, isn't there? Like, so yeah, it just doesn't really make sense to me. Everyone's entitled to their own beliefs, but if we are God, then it's us that are ultimately responsible for the reality that we're in. Though it's me, Tessa. Like, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. Like, as in, no one's coming to save us, is what I'm saying. We have to do it ourselves. And yeah, people can help you, but ultimately it's you. Ultimately, you are the one that has to save yourself. I would say, even if you believe in God, all God would do is guide you in the right direction. So you ultimately have to save yourself. Yeah, you have to be a boss. That's it. I mean, if people want to believe in all that stuff, then, people want to believe in Jesus, be my guest. I mean, I'm just explaining my point of view, but I don't usually talk about this stuff anymore because I know that it gets so polarizing. But people seem to like it for some reason when I get into these things. I guess people just like to, yeah, get polarizing instead of having a conversation where we can focus more on what we actually agree on. People always seem to come in when it's like contentious. Why did the algorithm suddenly send so many to your stream? Strange. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I was talking about something, and then the algorithm kind of picked it up and then sent it to them. Like, I was talking about consciousness a bit. I don't know where all that come from. I think it was because there was someone called One Jack Paul, and then just kind of talking about some ideas on philosophy and consciousness and all that. And then, yeah, I think that's probably where all that came from or something. But you haven't been to a life forever. Oh, really? Because your objective, Jim, it's refreshing. Well, I try to anyway. Wanderlust, hello. God only creates situations. It's up to us that we're able to see the opportunities or not. Yeah, a lot more way. Well, there's this. Yeah, consciousness is a strange thing, isn't it? This is the thing. It's like that's why we'll never probably end up coming to any agreement on it, really. At least not in our lifetime, anyway, because maybe it's just something beyond our ability to understand. Although iron, that's what I've kind of come to a not conclusion, because I'm always open. Never say I've come to the conclusion or something, because then you kind of closed off. Then it's like I've come to a point of understanding that shall we say that maybe we'll never know. There's this thing with absurdism and this search for like a bigger purpose or whatever, but maybe we'll never find that. What's that? What is your answer then? 82 Bing, you know? What is your answer then? Let's see. Like, I mean, what is your answer then? Let's have a look. You seem to always bring up red herrings when religious talk comes up. You talk about deeper conscious and programming, but really it's just nonsense talk. Denial doesn't mean falseness. Are you talking about you're religious or something? Saying it's free will, you don't have to, it's free will. I mean, but why give free will? Oh, Alyssa, how are you doing? Not seen you for a while. Yeah, so why give free will if it means people are going to abuse that? Why put people through suffering in order to have free will in that case? But I would say that why, if you're going to give people free will, then why should we have it with the restraints of this reality that we're in? Why is there all these restraints, like this whole thing of needing to eat food to survive, or needing to drink water to survive, breathe air to survive? Surely God would have created some system where your body would be able to recycle all of its energy and just keep going. There would be no need for any kind of like limitations if there's this infinite creator. Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. See you later, One Jack Paul. Yeah. Oh, no worries. Yeah, J Big's cool. We'll be getting off in a sec, but any more questions before I go? But yeah, absurdism. It's like, let's see what it says again. To kind of recap the whole absurdism theory, or whatever you call it, a philosophical theory. But yeah. Um, hang on a second. Absurdism. Absurdism is a philosophical theory famously championed by Albert Camus, stating that humans inherently seek meaning in life, yet the universe is irrational, chaotic, and completely indifferent to this search, this conflict between human desire for purpose and the silent universe is the absurd. Now, some people say, oh, if you just pray to God, then He will give it to you. But then there's a lot of people out there that have, they've tried to go the religious route, but then they've come out the other end. Like, if it was so obvious, then why isn't everyone believing in the same thing then? Why are there so many people who've, what do they call it? Like, they've abandoned religion, they've, they might have grown up with religion and then they had that rammed down their throat, and then they just decide, actually, no, this ain't for me. I don't really believe it. There's things that don't make sense. I mean, if it was so self-evident, then there wouldn't be so many people like just dropping off it, then, would there? Rock, paper, scissors. So you said free will, but then, if anything, you're the one that's not answering what I'm saying, because all you're doing is saying free will is just some kind of, it's like a catch-all thing. Oh, free will. Oh, because free will. My free will. Yeah. Because my free will. Anything that's bad in the world that shouldn't be going on, then, and then you'll just be like, oh, it's because free will. I don't know. I just find that as just a kind of cop out, in my opinion. But I don't usually talk about this stuff anymore. I mean, I have my own thoughts, but anyway. Oh, I don't understand the concept, or really. But I'm asking you, like, why is it that this infinite creator created such limited beings that somehow need to suffer for the sake of free will? Because if we had a lot more, if we weren't limited by material and all that and scarce resources, there would be no wars. There would be nothing like that. There would be no conflict. There would be no crime, because nobody would be jealous. Nobody would be, because everybody would all be, equal, because everyone would be limitless. Oh, Ben. Oh, God. But we just go around in circles. This is why I don't really talk about this so much now, because I'm like, no, but he did cause suffering because he created pain. He created us to have limitations, like the limitations of the human body. The body's frail, the body's weak. Like, yeah, it can be adaptable in some ways, but then, like, you try going more than, say, 3 days without water, you're gonna get really sick and then potentially even die. You know, I wouldn't recommend doing that. There have been people who've gone for a while without water, but I would not do that. It's dangerous shit. That, like, our bodies are very like the if in an ideal world you would be able to recycle all of your energy, like all of the energy that we need to live on. It would all just get recycled in some way. If God is infinite, then He can make it's infinitely possible what He can do. There would be no need for wars, famines, any of that. Therefore, in a limited reality, that limits our will because then our will is based on scarcity in terms of the things that we do in life. No, he didn't. Humans did. He didn't inflict any pain, yeah. But you have a choice to not drink the water. It's a choice. Well, if you want to live, then you have to drink the water. So he created the conditions. I mean, if you're in, say, like a desert, you could friggin' die of thirst. But I'm talking about if God was this infinite being, that he could do anything, that we could somehow recycle the energy or something inside of our body, or at least create a world where there's infinite abundance and there's never any shortage of anything, you know? So even if we did need to have food, then it would be. Now, of course, you could say, well, it is abundant. There is food out there, but it's like, but there would be no starvation. He would actually try to help at least anyway. There would be no scarcity of resources like, um, shelter and all that kind of stuff. There'd be no wars. Why does God have to do that? But, well, he's infinite. Why not? Is he just selfish then? He just created all this mess and then just let it kind of be? Whatever. I'm going, guys. I'll see you all later.